Hello, dear students. How are you? So, previously we have learned how to use select query to retrieve data from database. Okay. In this same context, we are going to go ahead and use some of the functions in SQL. So, in SQL, we have two type of functions. One is called single row function and another is called multi-row function or aggregate functions, or sometimes these are also called a group function because these are mostly used with the groups. Okay, so now what are single functions or single row functions? Single row functions are the functions which act on each and every row. For example, let's have a simple example where we are going to change the case of the emp name. Okay, first of all let us see emp name, and then I'm going to use ucase emp name is the function from emp. Okay, so this is it. Now you can see for each and every row my ucase is executed, or Amit is first converted into a capital case Amit, and then similarly Lakshman, Ram, and so on. So you can see each and every row gives the corresponding output. Okay, so these type of function are called single row functions. Okay, and the other type of functions are the group functions which act on multiple rows. For example, if I want to count total number of rows, so this will be uh, a process where we have to execute a function for a group of rows. Okay, for example, let's have select count, let's say emp name from emp. Okay, so now if you see, I'm having a 14 rows or 14 names are there in this column. Similarly, let's say if you see, let's say count e commission, now you can see all the rows which do not have a null values are counted. Okay, so total number of rows are counted by this count function, and the output is always 1. So you can see the aggregate functions are the functions which act upon a number of rows and give you a single result, right? So today what we are going to do, we are going to look what are aggregate functions and how many aggregate functions are offered by MySql. Okay, so in this context you have already learned what is count. Okay, this is what I have explained to explain what are aggregate functions, and the other functions are max, and then we have a minimum function, we have sum function and average function, and the last is count. Okay, now the basic syntax of using function is you have to write the name of the function and then you have to specify the parameter, and here the parameter will be the column name. Okay, so let's try to do it. Okay, it's error because I have written just function name to demonstrate, to show you these are the some of the functions. So actually we have only 5 functions. Now let us use them. Okay, first of all let's say what we have in our table, select xtick from emp. This will display all the values. Now for example, what is I want to check out the maximum salary and maximum commission, right? So what I can do is I can use a max function and specify the column name, that is cell, and max, let's say commission from emp. Okay, now you can see I'm getting the desired result. So this is the this is the value for the maximum salary, and this is the maximum commission in our table. So this is pretty fast. For example, you can see if I have to figure out what is the maximum value, so you can see, since I know the number, so my eye easily catches these number. But if the list is very long, then it is really very difficult for me or anybody else to find out the maximum value by simply looking. So max function will greatly help if you want this operation, right? And now let us try this thing for the date. Okay, so higher date, and let's say higher date. Okay, so now you can see the maximum higher date is 2020, and here also it is maximum. So let's say change it to minimum so that it gives me the difference. Okay, so now you can see the maximum date is the date which is latest or closest to the current date. Okay, and the minimum date is the date which is far from the current date. Okay, now you can easily make it out. For example, if you write consider this date instead of a date as a number, for example 2020, so this is the maximum value, and 1990 is the lowest value in this table. Okay, so if you write like this 20200726, this is a complete number. Okay, and you can see here also you can consider like this 19900303. so this you can treat as a number. That's how MySql also calculates the minimum and maximum. Okay, so remember this, and you will never forget or never be confused which one is maximum and which one is minimum, right? Now let us use this for our EMP name, right? Minimum EMP name and maximum EMP name. Okay, now let us run. Now you can see this is giving me according to dictionary. So this is not a syntax error, instead it is just calculates on the basis of ASCII value or according to the dictionary. So if your question is there somewhat like this, and your question says find out the output, so you have to check according to the dictionary order. It is not a syntax error. Please do not write a syntax error, right? Okay, hope you understood this. Now let us use some other functions like sum, right? We have select sum and sum of the salary. This will be easy, comma sum of commission, and let's have average of sell and average of commission from EMP. Okay, so now this is it. Now what I want to tell you is, let's say select asterisk from EMP. We are going to analyze the result, how it is being calculated. Okay, now I need a calculator for this. Now let us calculate the average commission first and figure out this is a pretty let us see one by one. Salary is pretty simple. It's sum of all the values excluding the null values. Null value is not counted. And similarly for commission, sum of all the values. So this is pretty simple. Okay, now if the sum is 4600 for the commission column, now how this average is being calculated? If we divide this value by 14, definitely this is not the result. Okay, it must come 328. Now why this is 657? So actually the answer for this is let's cancel and write the figure again. Okay, now let us count the values or rows where the commission is not null. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so 7 rows where we do not have a null value. Okay, so let us divide it by 7 and see the output. Okay, so now you can see 6, 5, 7, right? So this is how the calculation is being done. I think this is clear. Similarly, the average is also calculated for the salary column on the basis of 13 rows, since the 14th row or the topmost row do not contain any value for the salary. It's a null. Okay, so hope this is clear to you, and this is really very important point. Some of the time your question is asked like this: find out the output of a commission and count. Okay, for example, let's take an example. Find out the output of a count. Let's say commission, comma, average commission. So now from EMP there is one more thing, count asterisk. So now you have to find out the output of this query. I'm giving you some time, or you can pause the video and try to find out the output. Okay, so now let's check out the output and find out why this output is produced. So count commission will count only the number of rows where we have not null values. Okay, and average is calculated on the basis of 7 rows. So sum of all the values and divided by 7 is your average, while count asterisk gives the total number of rows. Okay, so this is, I think, clear, and this is really very important. Clear your doubts by reviewing the video again, because this is really very important. Okay, so this concludes our aggregate functions. Hope you have understood this, and try all these functions in your system so that you can internalize this, because at least out of 25, 3 or 4 marks will be there from this topic. Okay, so give me a permission to wind up this video, and thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Bye bye.